YouTube. I had this out on my live stream on Sunday night. That sounded rude, didn't it? This guitar out my live stream on Sunday night, but the sound's never as good. Compression, uploading, something like that. So here is my Squeir Bullet. This 1983 is the first Squier model. There's argument there was before this there was something called the JV series, which were like Japan vintage, which were Fender Japan or made by Fujijen, and they were copies of like a 62 and a 57 Strat or something like that. But they were Squier series, so they were like a Fender, and it said up here where it normally says contour body Squier series, and then that worked well. So this is the first Fender Japan guitar. When I say first, not technically true, the 16th ever, serial number 16. So 1983, the 16th ever Squier guitar. And if you look at how many Squier guitars there must be millions. There's only 15 older than this. Rocking. So the Bullet was, it was originally meant to come out, and I think it was 81 or 82. It was meant to come out and as like the Fender budget, because you didn't get Squier at the time. There was just, you could just buy American Fenders, there was no other option. So they were obviously sitting there going, look at all these Arias and Tokais and all that. They've got this all this market share for people who don't have whatever the equivalent of a grand is to buy a guitar. So we should make them ourselves. So they went to Korea to make this, which is the budget model, and they didn't pass. They were basically, the Fender wouldn't accept them. So as a last stopgap, they went, right, so they made them in America in 1982. Not quite this exact shape. I think there might have been one that was very similar. Using up old Mustang pickups, which again, I've forgotten to look them out. I don't even have two single coils. I've got a single coil sitting there. So these pickups, looking at them, they look kind of funny and weird. They're not. Basically, if you imagine, that is just a single coil and another single coil in backwards. That's why it's got four screws. It's just two single coils stuck together. So it's basically two sets of duosonic pickups. The body is a bit more this way. It's not a Mustang or a duosonic shape. It's a new shape, but it's just a little bit squished this way. It is full scale length though, and this is a Telecaster headstock. There are other versions of this. There's one that's more Telecaster-y shaped. Also the original ones, the American ones, have like I think it's a metal scratch plate they've got, and they don't have a separate bridge. So the back bit of the actual scratch plate is bent up, you know, like the way this is bent up, and so the bridge is actually part of the scratch plate. I've seen pictures of them, but I don't know what they're like. That means it must have a metal scratch plate, I suppose. Yeah, so this is just hardtail, not through strung. It's got like wee keyholes. You stick like a wee hole. There's like a recess behind it where you stick, so it's not through the top. It's like you kind of put it in there and put it into a wee keyhole there, like a wee keyhole shape. You stick it in and it locks in. So hardtail, nice and easy. I hope that doesn't just keep pinging indefinitely. Yeah, volume and a tone. And as I said, because these are single coil pickups, so unlike like a normal 2-humbucker guitar, that one's got it. Right, so like on this, you've got 2 humbuckers and there's a coil split. So you've got like a humbucker pickup that's split to make a single coil. So it's like, it is a humbucker, what it's meant to do, and then the single coil is a sort of approximation. It's pretty good as half of it. It's not really a single coil, whereas this is the other way around. This is really a single coil, and to make a humbucker, they've stuck 2 single coils together. So it's like, I think of it more of a sort of duosonic, but it's got an option where you add in an extra coil, which is pretty cool. Fender Japan, so these would be Gotoh tuners because they look exactly the same as the West Tone and all the other ones. When you can, the wee bit on the back, the wee insert, you can get whatever you want written on it. So the Aria Pro, West Tone, Washburn, whatever they've got written on them, these are Fender Japan. So this was the first Fender Japan guitar, sometimes called a Bullet 1, because if you look and see the wee star, it's got a bullet on it. It's got a 1 in the star, but that doesn't really mean anything because they've all got that. And the other one, there's one that's got 3 single coils. So there's this one, and then there's one that's got 3 single coils, but it's more telly shaped, and it might have a Strat headstock. Don't know, but anyway, this was the first 7 1/4 inch radius fingerboard I'd ever owned, and it was so obvious to me when I got it. It was like, wow. So when I went to buy this, it was a good price, and the switch was broken. So I went in and I was like, up here, I'm pretty sure it's worth more than that. I'll go in and I'll play it, and you know, I'll buy it, fix the switch, sell it, make 50 quid, you know, something like that. And I just went, oh. And the guy's like, what? And I was like, I was going to fix this and sell it, but I'm keeping it already, like just from as soon as I felt the neck. It's a one-piece maple. It's got really rolled edges on it, and it's absolutely as good a Fender neck as you can get. If this had been like a Strat or a Telly, it would be thousands of pounds worth now. I don't know what it's worth now. It's been number 16. Very similar to my, well, it's fujijen as well, the photo flame Japanese Strat from '94. That's fujijen as well. So it's what, 86. So this is older than those two, but you can kind of. I've gone through that many guitars now. I could kind of tell Japanese factories by playing the guitar. But I looked this one up anyway just to make sure. So best sound on it. Well, I'll just start with the one I use most often, which is both of these single coils in the middle. So you've got your sort of Telly Holloway. Playing through the peavey 50 watt now, just using the internal speaker. I need to switch it down, so I'm using the 3x12. Why am I using one 12-inch speaker and not three? Just because I haven't bothered plugging it in yet. Yeah, the bridge. So this is all stock and in almost mint condition. My pal even called bullshit that it was happy. That's from 1982, and he was looking at it like, no, you mean that can't be? I was like, no, that's the only made it. I use that. It's not brand new. It's not a reissue. Like, no. Just because it's that. You look at it's a 3-piece something, but it does. It's just like it gets to the point. All my guitars are all bashed, and this one isn't. And neck. So the only non-original part is the switch, and I tried to fix the switch and kind of failed. And then I looked on eBay, and you can actually buy the exact same switch. It's even got the same sticker that says, I think it's DM30 or something on it, like made in Japan switch, and it's exactly the same one you can still get. So it's a brand new one. Still not the best switch. I still like to see. I'm happy to see the cheap switches you get. They're like a circuit board on them. They're fine. Like as soon as you get the ones that are kind of like, oh, we'll try and make it look like the vintage original Fenders. You know, you get this sort of. They're not as good, but I had to keep it original. Well, sort of original. You know what I mean? You wouldn't claim your car. I was like, oh, I've got a Jaguar E-Type. Oh, it's not all original. Those are not the original tyres. You know, it's like, well, obviously it can't be. These things wear out. It's not the original strings either. And then humbuckery, or sort of faux humbucker, double coil maybe. In the neck. I suppose this way you can get humbucker in the neck and single coil on the bridge. Pretty good actually. Other way around, so now we get the humbucker on the bridge. And then humbucker on the bridge. Which I'd imagine probably sounds better with a bit of guvnor on it for a bit of the humbucker. Humbucker on the bridge and single coil on the neck. Both single coils. I was playing a 2-chord jam yesterday, and I was going to put that bass on it and end up doing that bass. So basically I'm just going to use exactly the same 2-chord jam. Like I'm going to put bass on it, we are 10 minutes in. Sensible person would have paused the video there. I'm not going to, I'm just going to assume that this is still in tune from yesterday. And I'm going to play very quickly. But the video yesterday was like half an hour jamming the bass along with that. But let's be honest, the jam went on an awful lot longer because I just kept going after I stopped recording. That's through the bass amp. Now through the guitar amp. This was actually almost on my cull list, and then to be honest, I kind of forgot I had it. But it's really good. And in justification mode, I don't think I've got another guitar that's 2 single coils. I do have a telly, but a telly's different because it's got a different type of bridge. Neck humbucker and bridge single. Single. And I'm playing kind of stratty, fendery clean, which it doesn't have to be. Just it does it so well. fuzz. So I think they only made these for, like I said, there was 83 and 84, so there's 2 years of this, and then they moved to Korea and made, whether it's exactly the same model or not, but I think they were too good. Like what were, the old thing, if they'd made this, they made it intentionally not a Strat or a Telly, so that people would still buy a Strat and a Telly. I think if they'd made this just basically exactly this, but made it a Duosonic or a Telecaster, no one would have bought Fenders. Bridge single. Rusty Fuzz. I went straight for the fuzz, but I should have gone to distortion first. So guvnor pedal, humbucker in the neck. Both single coils. I actually took this into the studio the week after I got it, and it ended up making me play like Leonard Skinner, doing a lot of the... That'll be a pure... much in E. Playing in D is hard. Only 21 frets. Yeah, so it's actually really, really nice. I think an awful lot to do with the way I'm playing it there, you know, playing the really quiet and sort of, I don't want to say jazzy, but you know, sort of laid back and J.J. Cayley maybe, just because of what it looks like and what it feels like. I'd imagine it probably. Well, let's. Does it? Can I? Imagine that as yes, I think it does. It does anything. Most guitars can do pretty much anything. Yeah. So interesting guitars, a fantastic design. It's a bit. I suppose you could say it's on the. It's like a budget one. It's kind of like the Duosonic or something, where it's like they've made it cheaper by just having everyone's just mounted on the scratch plate, including the output. So that must be cheaper to route. You must need less wood because it's slightly smaller. Actually, I bought a case from Thomann for my Steinberger bass, you know, the one that's got no neck and no body, and it kind of wobbles about in it, but this fits in the Steinberger case, whereas no other guitar does, so it's quite a snug fit. So this got its own gig bag, so it's nice, easy to find. But I suppose you could argue it would be a good guitar if you were a smaller person or something, but don't know. It's a full 25.5 inch scale, so it technically just is a Strat. It's very similar to my Strat. I'm quite pleased I got the trem fitted, because the trem block on that was chewed up, so I couldn't put a trem arm in it, so it was just a hardtail. So now I've put a new trem block in it. So now this one's a hardtail. So just trying to justify it to myself of keeping both of them. But I mean, the build quality is something else. It's like, oh, the new Mexican standards are great, and it's like, yeah, they don't touch this though. This is okay. It's a Squire. Yep, give it that. But it's a Squire by name, but really Fender Japan, and not really built with budget. The budget constraints are on things like that. You know, it doesn't have a tremolo, so it's much easier. It doesn't need routing, relatively, and it's quite basic and simple. They didn't make it cheaper by using cheap wood and cheap pickups and putting it together badly. The build quality on it is as good as. That's kind of why it only lasted a couple of years, because you know, Fender. Hold on, these guitars are awfully good, especially we're talking about 1982 or something like that. Where how good were Fender doing their top of the range Strats in 82? There's not a year that you pure go, oh, an 82 Strat, that's the best. It's like, I think was that not the time when they were kind of trying to deal with you know, like super Strats and stuff, so they had the HM and all that, kind of a bit lost their way a little bit. Why the Japanese guitars come in, and it fits perfectly into my collection of Japanese early 80s guitars. You know, it's the same as all my Arias and my West Tones and all that are all kind of this era built. Okay, no, this is a fujijen. Most of them are Matsumoku, but Matsumoku fujijen, you know, they're all in Nagoya, Japan, so they're all within a 50-mile radius. So it was built within a 50-mile radius of. Yes, I've got one. Yes, I've got a West Tone Thunder. So it's an 82 or an 83. So same year, built within 50 miles of that one, to the same quality, because they were competing. So rock on, catch you later. This is another live video, which, well, when I say live, it's today's video. I just did a video for Fox's Buckycaster, but you're not going to see that for a week. And then I'll see what I'm doing for the rest of the week. I'm not really sure. I never have a plan. Rock on. Love you all. And like and subscribe and shit.